Coming up on the Empire Report, last month's slave ring bust has meant hundreds of former captives returning to their homes. But find why one woman may have to go to court to get her life back. And
could an outer system be the next real estate must-have? Hear what has the rich and powerful pulling up stakes and staking claims. Plus,
why a Navy surplus may mean it's the perfect time to buy a new ship. We share how the UEE's loss might be your gain. All that and more on the latest Empire Report at 2200 SET.
Welcome to episode 40 of Around the Verse. I'm Sandy Gardner.
I'm Ben Lesnick. Can you believe we've done 40 of these?
No, I cannot believe we've done 40 of these.
Great.
And $79 million as well.
Yeah, congratulations everybody out there for getting us to this point. It's really incredible. I know I say that every time, but it is really incredible.
Star Citizen Alpha 1.1.1 is out.
And that is what we're officially calling it now. Chris posted a letter from the chairman on Friday, basically explaining we're going to call it Star Citizen Alpha to keep people from being confused. This is not the release candidate yet, but 1.1.1 adds a whole mess of interesting things, including the very first bit of multi-crew. If you land on a platform in free flight mode, you can get out and man the turret of another ship. I've heard of people getting as many as 3-4 people into their Cutlass and flying around. So it's just the very earliest inkling of what's possible.
You can pick up a Super Hornet or a Gladiator this weekend as well.
Another thing we're hearing about 1.1.1 is folks asking about the balance, whether or not everything is locked down now, especially wreck balance, and I think the Auroras were nerfed a bit. No, that's not final. We experiment with different things to try to get everything just right. Expect to see it swing in the other direction as we go forward and back again.
We also put out a design post on FPS stances and breathing.
I'm really excited about some of the mechanics they're working with there to make FPSs more complex. I think just the idea of having to think about your breathing when you're firing our weapons is really interesting. I know there are some games that have done that before, more hardcore FPS games, but I think it's going to be very interesting in the Star Citizen setting.
Now let's go to the Spectrum for news from around the verse.
Take it away, Spectrum.
Greetings, Star Citizen fans, and welcome to Around the Verse. I'm Darian Vorlick.
I'm Lisa Ohanian.
And we have some updates for you. So, number one, we're finishing up concepting on the whole series. It's really exciting. It's looking great. It's the next concept that's going to be coming your way, so get excited about it. We're also working on polishing our character pipeline to make sure, as we're gearing up into character creation, our processes are efficient and all of our characters are coming out looking really badass. We're finishing up right now, specifically, working on some of the character concepts for the citizens of Terra. So we're fleshing out what they're going to look like, the upper class, the middle class, all of the subcultures, and it's looking great. Really excited to share it with you guys.
So on the Arena Commander front, before we start releasing 1.2, which is the FPS patch, you may or may not know that we've actually got an in-between patch, which we're calling 1.1.2. So many numbers. So what we're doing in this one is introducing the tutorial system for Arena Commander, kind of get new players, or even possibly some veteran players, acclimated to the control systems, how to do some of the in-game operations. But it's also a lot of our setup for when we finally do the FPS in 1.2. So as we're doing that, as we're preparing for the FPS, as you know, with 1.1.1, we finally released some of the multi-crew tech that we've been working on for the Super Hornet, the Cutlass, and the Gladiator. So at this point now, we're just kind of fine-tuning that technology, working out the bugs, making sure everything's working smoothly. And we have seen a lot of the bugs that have been reported for this. So at this point, we're just getting it right before we finally roll out the full multi-crew system for the persistent universe.
Yeah, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's all we got for Santa Monica.
Yeah, signing off. I'm Darian Vorlick.
I think am I Lisa or Darian?
I'm Ron Burgundy. Stay classy, Star Citizen fans.
Hi, I'm David Langolier, senior producer at Ilphonic.
And I'm Travis Day, Chuck Brungart, president of Ilphonic, and we're actually sad because Travis isn't here with us today.
Yeah, it was good having him here. Helped us out a lot and had some good times. Got to see him a little too drunk a couple times, but that was fun too. So I guess today we're going to talk about Sataball, which we've mentioned a couple times before, but it's zero-G sporting mode that we're putting in the FPS that involves grappling hooks and a ball that you have to shoot into a goal, and all zero-G movement using the push-pull system.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. We're pretty excited about some of the stuff we're working on with it. A lot of what we're doing is we mentioned we're pre-vising some of the movement, zero-G stuff, trying to get that better. We got that to a pretty good state where I would say most of the previs went really well with Chris. He was liking kind of the movement and everything, the way it was looking. There was some more updates we were doing to kind of previs out a couple of the other mechanics, which we're iterating on a little bit of feedback right now. But for the most part, it's looking great. And basically now we're kind of in the process of chopping all that up. So part of my job now is helping the guys. Actually, I'm taking on some coding tasks right now to kind of help get some of this stuff in quicker so we can start really playing it and seeing how it feels and all that kind of stuff. So it's coming along good. A couple of our other programmers that would be good for this kind of work, they're a bit tapped, so I wanted to help where I could to kind of get us a nice start, and then they'll be rolling off their current work now and then moving on to help me with this. So yeah. We also have been doing some network profiling and finding ways to cut down the network to get better performance, and been doing some really cool things on that front and having discussions with some of the other studios and stuff like that to kind of see how we can maximize everything. But we've isolated a lot of the problem areas we're having, at least on the FPS side, so we're excited to get all those fixes in as well, which will be rolling in probably over this next week and next week as well. So
yep. Yeah, and just a couple of the other things that have been going on with Sataball that we've been doing. So one of our animators here has been prevising a crumple jump, is what we've been calling it. You guys may have seen in some of the previous footage from zero-G that you come up to a surface with your hands. Crumple jump allows you to kind of rotate in zero-G just so that your feet are facing towards the surface and you can kind of look above your head and jump off in a direction that you want. And so I think we're getting to a point where that's looking really good, and we're probably going to start implementing it soon here. And then Chris has also been requesting just some tweaks to Sataball in terms of the color scheme. It looks a lot better now. And the size of the ball itself, we had it kind of as this massive beach ball thing before. And so we're scaling it down a little bit to be a little more manageable for players. Yeah, other than that, just work continues, and we're cranking away here. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you guys next week.
Hey guys, Jake Ross here. Here with me I have
Patrick Thomas, lead artist.
Mark Skelton, awesome artist extraordinary. I don't know what the hell I am.
He's our art director.
Kortsos, Global Environment Tech Lead.
And I'm Ian Leyland, the Global Environment Lead.
And Ian's here visiting this week. This week we have our Environment Summit going on here in Austin. Guys, what do we hope to get out of this week?
Environments.
Summed up.
Done?
Done? No, I don't know about that. Ian, what do we got going on?
The main reason for this week is just to make sure the roadmap for this year, we're building environments for Squadron 42, the PU, and then Arena Commander and the FPS.
Yep.
Are all following the same system. Now, because obviously we've got the studio here in Austin, we've got the studio in Manchester, you don't really get good communication times with emails and Skype, so you're always going to need this everyone's sitting around together, making sure we're all on the same page, and they're just super helpful. The way we're doing our environments, they're quite complex, and we just need to make sure that we're all following the same system, and when we put a set into production, for example, it's going to get the most bang for buck for all studios.
Yeah.
Well, incredible.
I'd say to expand on that too, because we obviously have Squadron 42 in the UK and PU here in Austin. It's also a good chance to try and see what everyone's working on too.
Yeah.
Not just obviously compatibility.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we got guys coming in from Ilphonic and Behavior here later in the week, and we're going to go over their sets and make sure everybody's on the same page. So that's what we got going on here this week. So
and it's a good chance to share treats like Welch cakes.
Delicious.
They're so
And
good.
barbecue.
And barbecue with our British friends. So yeah, it's good stuff. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey y'all, the name's Michael Dalston. I'm the new guy here at Foundry 42. I've just joined the QA team. Very happy to be here and very happy to be appearing in my very first episode of Around the Verse. Anyway, we're just here to give you guys a little update on what we've been doing over the past couple of weeks. First up, we've been obviously monitoring the RSI forums quite extensively since the release of the SC Alpha 1.1.1 patch. The QA team over in Austin have been working very closely with the DevOps team over there in order to get to the bottom of some of your network and matchmaking issues that we've been seeing arise quite a lot. Steve Brennan, one of our main guys here, has also been trolling the subreddit and looking at some of your Twitch streams in order to kind of, once again, get to the bottom of these issues. As it stands, it looks like the server is basically allowing too many players into the game than the game rules will allow, therefore causing all kinds of connection problems for many people involved. There was also a kind of... People believed for a while that getting into a match with the Dying Star map was much more likely than others, but that in itself has proven to be a bit of a red herring. But do not be put off by any of this. It is still possible to get a game. We're still early days. Issues will still arise. Steve's also been collecting a lot of your guys' feedback, bringing it to us. Obviously, some of it's been positive, some of it's been negative, but all of it's been helpful, and it's all going to the right place every week. He gives us his reports every week. He loves giving us those reports. And anyway, if you've got any more questions for us here at the Foundry 42 QA, then send them straight to Steve, and he will relay them to us when he can. Other than this, as usual, the majority of our testing has been concentrating on the Arena Commander portion of the game, and now the focus has actually moved on to the tutorial aspect of the Arena Commander. I'm not here to give you a release date, by the way, before you get excited. What this means is we've been running through a number of various test cases on the tutorial section of the game, basically trying to get it into a completable state, because as you can imagine, the development process is difficult and we get into a lot of problems. But being here side by side with the dev team in Foundry 42, it's been really exciting to see it grow from the ground up, from obviously a buggy mess into something that is playable and is doable. It's been great to see it coming along. It really has. And the great thing about this is that you do get to interact with your very first NPC. Just remember to follow exactly what the NPC does. Rules are there for a reason. Finally, I'd just like to quickly talk about the FPS module, which has been getting a lot of testing over the past couple of weeks. Also, one of the main drives is to get regular cross-CIG studio games on the go. So basically, we can stress the servers and stress each other out by basically shooting each other in the face, because who doesn't want to shoot their friends and family in the face? In a virtual sense, of course. Anyway, this is me signing off now. It's been great speaking to you guys. I hope to see you again in another Around the Verse episode. So I guess I will see you in the verse. And remember to always praise the sun.
Ejecting.
Stand by for reintegration.
Thanks for all your hard work, guys. Let's go over to Darian, who is talking with the newest member of our production staff, Lisa Ohanian.
Hi,
I'm Darren Borlick, a production coordinator over here at the Santa Monica office of Cloud Imperium Games. I am sitting today with Lisa Ohanian, one of our new production coordinators. We're here to discuss what she does and find out a little bit more about her. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Darian?
We're working on 1.2, and it's pretty intense. So we just released 1.1.1, and I think a lot of us are glad that we've finally gotten out the door. So now that we've had some time to kind of, you've been on the Around the Verse with me a couple times already, and there have been people asking about, like, who's this new production coordinator? Where'd she come from? How did she just suddenly appear on camera? So why don't we start and just telling our backers and players about a little bit about you. So what do you do here?
So I am a production coordinator. Right now I'm the only producer on the art team, which is a little bit scary, but I think we have another one coming on soon, so that'll be nice. Majority of my day tends to be, I do a lot of work with our art outsourcers, so making sure that we're on the same page about what we're doing at SIG and what we're having to work with other contractors for, keeping track of all of our approvals as they come in for ships, for characters, for anything art related, really, to make sure that our production director, our art director, Chris Roberts, all like the direction that we're going with everything. I also help keep track of the character pipeline, which is undergoing a lot of work right now. As you know, you're laughing, and the ship pipeline as well for art.
So up until recently, I mean, that's pretty much something that's been shared, not only just within the LA office, but kind of haphazardly done. We had an outsourcing manager before, and after that individual left, we were pretty much left with a lot of balls up in the air as far as like who's doing what contracting work, where are we at. So you've also taken on the scheduling of our ships. So how do you think that is at least going to help us improve how we release our ships?
I think it's going to be really helpful to have all of that sort of in one place, because we do have certain parts of certain ships that we will give to outsourcers. And if you don't have the same person sort of on the same page with where things are coming from, it's hard to know how to slot them into our schedule. Right. For example, the ship block schedule that you've seen, where we sort of ballpark all the different stages of development and who's going to get what and when it's going to this person, it's a lot easier if you have a sense of where people are coming from, because if I'm looking at how I need to move certain things around, I can say, well, we can't give this guy more time because his contract ends this day and he's unavailable for a while, or knowing the strengths of different contractors and how we can give them certain things, switch them between different pipelines even sometimes. So it just sort of, it's useful to have that knowledge of where all the pieces are coming from when you're determining how to move them around at a later stage in the game.
So that block schedule that you've inherited,
yes.
Created by Alex.
Yes.
So it's important that we have this because we've never really had a form of, I don't say we never, but it's a much more efficient form of what we're tracking now. Yeah. As a producer, that's exciting stuff to us.
Oh, yeah,
because we get to organize everything.
When Alex was handing it over to me, I saw it only went a few weeks back, and I said, where's the rest of it? And he's like, no, I started this a few weeks ago.
So what can you tell us about that schedule? I mean, what exactly is it? How do you use it to keep track of everything?
So there's a bunch of different fancy tabs with a lot of different stuff in it. A lot of it inherited by Alex, a lot of it updated or created by myself. The two big ones are the backlog and the actual schedule itself. So when we know, for example, we need a new ship, I'll go into the backlog and I have a list of all the different phases the ship has to go through, from concept to when it's flyable and ready to sell. And sort of a ballpark of how long each area should take. And of course, different ships might take longer in one area or longer in a different area. So I always try to take that into account as well. I create all of these tasks in the backlog, and then as soon as we get to a point in the schedule where we need to start planning what ships are going to come down the pipeline next, I'll take that, I'll move it over to my big schedule tab on my giant Excel sheet. The schedule tab is sort of it's actually pretty simple once you know how to read it. It's just a list of all the different people that we have on different art stages, from, concepting to final pass to gray box to, you know, all of that. And I take those pieces and I put them under people's names. And it sounds really simple. But if you don't have something where you can see across the board 10 different people what they're working on at a certain time, you might not realize that this guy's not going to be done with something in time to give it to this guy in order to hit the state here that we're aiming for. So it sounds simple, but there's a lot of value in something simple and easy to read where you can see so many pieces at once.
That's important to us as producers because, well, I guess making order from chaos. And it sounds like something so simple, and yet without it, where would we be?
Yeah, you would be well, you wouldn't be surprised because you're a producer too, but you would be surprised how many times I will get curveballs just from people seeing that, because, you know, we're producers, we kind of live by what our dates are and what our, you know, milestones are, but not everyone does. So you know this just as much as I do. So I try to have a weekly meeting with a bunch of the different stakeholders in the art pipeline and get them all in a room and just go through and say, so is this what this person is working on? Do they need any more time than is currently on their schedule? What do you think is going to be something good to put on their plate next, depending on their bandwidth and their strengths and weaknesses? And you would, again, the proverbial you would be surprised how many times you'll get someone saying, oh, no, wait, we can't do that there because this is probably going to change and this guy is going to be grabbed by this whole other team to work on this for a while. And, you know, it seems really straightforward, but when you get other people in there looking at it, it moves around a lot and it can get pretty tricky.
Yeah, it's pretty much a living, breathing document.
Changes by the day.
And it's incredibly malleable. That actually brings up another point, outsourcing. Not a lot of people know that we actually contract a lot of third-party individuals or even companies to actually design a lot of our assets for us.
Yeah.
And that requires us to not only keep track of what they're doing, but pay them as well. So, I mean, you know, I don't think anybody wants to work for free. So you take care of that as well.
Yes, I do.
So kind of go through what exactly you do with our outsourced and third-party companies.
Okay. So one of the most important things, I think, is, like you said, we do a lot of work with outside contractors, sometimes at pretty early stages. The tricky thing there is that we have a really high quality bar here, and Chris has a very specific vision. So you have to be very careful when you give things to outsourcers to make sure they're on the same page about what the ship is, what the function is, how it fits in the world, because it's easy for them to go off and create something. We've had this situation before already, and it comes back and we look at it and we say, well, this is really cool, but you know, this isn't the kind of ship that would have guns. Why there's so many guns on it? Yeah, they don't take into account that this is the kind of game where people are going to be walking around inside of this ship. And because it looks cool on the outside, when you're on the inside, you know, does it match up? Does it make sense for what that ship is? Is the scale correct? So that very early stage is one of the most important, I think. Also, again, a lot of coordination, determining what different people's strengths are when they're available, what we can give to people when, making sure that we have, I actually initiated this daily review system for all of our outsourcers who are interested, where, you know, we have certain milestones where they have to deliver things, but we really want to be involved in the process.
Right.
So I encourage them, I gave them all their own specific, you know, file transfer protocol system, and asked them, you know, offered them, really, if you want to drop anything, any day, we will look at it the next morning and give you feedback that day, so they know if they're on the right track.
Right. I've actually seen a few of them. I've actually sent Lance a few of my suggestions on that.
Yeah.
And it's important because, well, as you said, Chris has a very, very specific vision for this game. And because a lot of our outsourced artists, they don't only just do work for us, but they work on other projects externally as well. Some of them do like special effects for movies.
Some of them I've worked before at other companies.
So that actually brought up the next question was, this requires a lot of communication with the design team as well, such as our design people writing up designed briefs. How much of that communication are you a part of on a daily basis between designers, artists, even outsourcing, just to make sure these ships kind of come to fruition?
So designers, like I said, you know, I'm the only producer right now on the art team, so I try to let you handle the design things as much as possible, but as you know, I do try to check in with them to make sure that like I said, the function matches up to everything we're doing, and that what we're creating is something that you guys can work with later on. So I do have a lot of check-ins with designers, although I try not to book large chunks of their time and dictate what they're doing for the day. You know,
that's what I do.
I know, exactly. That's what you do. So you know, I check in with them, but I try to keep that to a functional minimum. That being said, once I have that information, I work a lot with our production designer, director, Rob, and I work with our art director, Lance, a lot to make sure that they all know what those goals are. And they're invaluable because they have a really strong sense of Chris's vision.
Yes.
They can look at something and predict what he's going to say and predict where he's going to think it fits in the universe, what kind of changes are going to be made. So a lot of times we'll have our contractors, again, this is the ideal pipeline for this. They create something and they say, hey, this is due in a week. I hope it's on the right track. They send it to us. We have background information on it from when we sent them the creative brief. We got all of that design information. And I look at it with just Lance and Rob. And we look over it and we send them feedback sometimes and ask them to do something different or try something new. Or sometimes if it's good enough, we try to have periodic meetings with Chris Roberts as well. So he can look over the things that have already had iteration and we think are something good for him to get his eyes on. So I work with everyone at different levels.
Yeah. So what's the hottest thing you're working on right at this moment?
So I think the coolest thing I'm working on right now is the character pipeline, because we've done a lot of work on it, but there's still a lot of aspirations that we have for it as well. So it's really cool being in some of the early meetings and seeing what we thought went well and changing our pipeline before we start, you know, cranking on it. Yep. And it's also awesome because we're just starting to get a lot of concept art for some of the characters, and some of them are, you know, bigger characters. There's a lot of Vandul concept art coming down the pipeline, and there's a lot of, I find this really interesting, just character artwork from people on different planets. Just the people who are going to be around the planet, not necessarily a major character. And that is so interesting to me because as we're refining that, I'm getting a much stronger sense of the worlds and not just what they are on paper, what their name, what their history is, but their personalities. And that's the coolest thing to me right now.
If you think about it, we've got 900 years of future history where every planet's going to have its own independent culture. And every planet's going to have its own independent culture, own independent sense of fashion and what's the norm. Yeah. So that's a lot of creative stuff that people need to come up with. And
on that note, you come up with a good point. We don't just have one style for all of our planets. We have the regular class, we have the frontier people, we have the upper class, we have the counterculture, we have so many different sub-personalities of every planet. And that's the coolest thing to me probably because the variety there really makes it feel like it's coming to life already.
I want to work on that.
Well, too bad.
So, Lisa, thank you for taking your time to spend the day with us, or spend this conversation with us. So, once again, I'm Darian, production coordinator over here in Santa Monica, and we've got
Lisa Ohanian.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Captain's log, stardate 2654.42. The USS Communiprise is returning home after a 6-month nebula survey mission. My crew has performed extraordinarily well, and I am proud of what they've accomplished here.
Captain, sensors are picking up an incoming ship.
On screen, Mr. Lando.
They're unresponsive to our calls.
Captain, our shields are down. Hold tight, Mr. Lando.
Captain, Starfleet regulations state that shields must be raised when encountering an
Lieutenant, Captain is very aware of regulations.
Incoming torpedo!
Auxiliary power!
Captain, incoming transmission.
On screen.
Ben T. Lesnick, we meet again. I wanted you to see who it was who finally defeated you. You thought you were so good, mocking my dogfighting skills, but now it is I who will have the last final laugh. Say goodbye, Ben. Fire! Ha 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 ha!
Sandy! Sandy, spare my crew. It's me you want. I'll beam over, and we'll have one last dogfight.
Very well, Ben. Prepare to meet your end! Ha ha! Come on, Ben. As good as Ben, not so good. Yes!
Damn it, I keep missing.
You're still stuck. Here we go. Yes! You're gonna die. You're going down. Ready? Yes! Yes! Died!
You got me.
I did it. So proud of myself. Better than Ben.
All right, you got me, but I will have my revenge in Space Marine.
You will not, because I'm very good at first-person shooter.
I actually did know that about you.
Gamescom tickets are still available.
Although they are going fast. Hopefully there are still some by the time this airs, but if you want to go to Gamescom with us, pick up your tickets quick.
We are going to make it a very fun event. There's quite a few of us going from the LA team.
Yep, Sandy and I are both going to be there.
We will be there, and James will be there, Jared will be there, Tom will be there.
Tom will be there, the ladies, Alexis and Chelsea.
Oh yeah, can't forget about those girls. And Aaron, a couple of other guys from Manchester, maybe some Frankfurt people.
And Chris Roberts, of course.
Oh yeah, of course, we forgot about him.
It wouldn't be a party without Chris Roberts.
CitizenCon details will be available next month.
I'm looking forward to that one too. That's going to be a fun event. The last two were great. This one will be even greater.
It sounded so cheesy. We shot a series of new Empire Report segments last week, and we'd like to give backers the opportunity to create their new backdrop.
Yeah, several people have asked about this. Can we try to create the backdrop that we put in the green screen for the Empire Report? And yes, we're going to let you give it a try. We'll put the details for what kind of file format and image size and all that on the forums, and we invite you to submit yours.
Yes, so please give Beck Russum, Alan Nuevo, and Colt Legrande a new backdrop.
Colt Legrande is new, but he's great.
Mm-hmm. We are unlocking racing ships this weekend. Pick up an M50, Mustang Gamma, or 350R, or unlock them with Rec.
And let us know on the forums what ships you'd like us to unlock next time around. We want to do this regularly to let people have some variety as to what ships they fly.
And we hope you're enjoying the Arena Commander footage we've added to the show. It's from our backers, and you can submit your own on the forums.
My favorite was the Constellation one last week, where the guy was trying to stick the M50 inside the Constellation. So keep it up.
And now it's time for our sneak peek.
Check it out. If you'd like to know more about what you're seeing in the sneak peek, tune into RTV at 1 p.m. after the airing of this program.
On Twitch?
On Twitch, yes.
Thanks everybody for watching, and to subscribers for making this show possible. We will see you next week on Around the Verse. Should we do that again?